Hollywood veteran has just surrendered to police in New Mexico facing serious felony charges involving minors, but his legal team is already heating back with a defense narrative you rarely hear so early in a case. While the headlines are focusing on the 2 counts of criminal sexual contact and 1 count of child abuse, legal documents filed by the defense claim this entire situation is actually a calculated effort for revenge stemming from a casting decision gone wrong. Tonight, we're breaking down the timeline of Timothy Busfield's surrender, the specific allegations from the set of the cleaning lady, and the explosive counterclaim that suggests this legal battle is being driven by a mother's animus, not facts. The events unfolded rapidly on Tuesday, January 13th, when actor and director Timothy Busfield voluntarily surrendered to the Albuquerque Police Department. According to Gilbert Gallegos, the director of communications for the Albuquerque PD, Busfield turned himself in at the Metro Detention Center. This surrender comes after an arrest warrant was issued containing 3 severe charges: 2 counts of criminal sexual contact of a minor and 1 count of child abuse. The context here is critical to understanding the gravity of the situation. The allegations reportedly stem from Busfield's time working as a director on the 2nd season of the Fox series, The Cleaning Lady, which aired back in 2022. The accusers are identified in reports as 11-year-old twin boys who were working on the set. According to the arrest warrant obtained by media outlets, the parents of the alleged victims claimed that Busfield engaged in unlawful sexual conduct with the boys during this production window. However, immediately following his surrender, the narrative took a sharp turn. This isn't a case where the accused is remaining silent. Busfield's civil attorney, Stanton Larry Stein, issued a robust statement to People magazine that attempts to completely reframe the motive behind these charges. Stein stated, quote, "Tim voluntarily appeared before New Mexico authorities after traveling across the country to confront these false and deeply troubling allegations. This brings us to the core of the defense's argument, which is centered on the concept of retaliation. We need to look closely at the relationship between the production, the child actors, and the director." Busfield joined the cleaning lady in season 2. According to the defense, the catalyst for these criminal complaints wasn't an on-set incident, but rather a professional termination. Attorney Stein's statement alleges a direct link between the boys leaving the show and the emergence of these accusations. He stated, "Criminal complaint. After her son was terminated from the show, the boy's mother vowed to get her revenge against Timothy Busfield." This is a significant claim to make in a public statement. The defense is arguing that the mother explicitly verbalized an intent to destroy Busfield's reputations because her son was cut from the cast. The defense is characterizing the legal case against Busfield not as a pursuit of justice, but as a calculated effort to construct a case driven by animus, not fact. This language is designed to cast immediate doubt on the credibility of the accusers by assigning a vengeful motive to the parents. It suggests that the legal team intends to fight this by scrutinizing the timeline of when the actor was fired versus when the allegations were first made. But this defense relies on more than just attacking the motive. It relies on previous vetting processes. Usually, when allegations of misconduct on a major studio set arise, internal mechanisms are triggered. In this instance, there is a record of a prior investigation, and the results of that inquiry are central to Busfield's claim of innocence. This leads us to the involvement of Warner Brothers Television. When misconduct allegations involve minors on a set, the studio typically retains independent counsel to investigate. In this case, that independent investigator was Christina McGovern. Her findings, which have now been released via Busfield's attorney, flatly contradict the current criminal charges. McGovern's statement is precise. She said, "I conducted an independent and thorough investigation of all allegations known to the studio at the time." She noted that Warner Brothers gave her full discretion to look into the matter. Based on what was alleged and all evidence gathered, including multiple witness statements, I found no corroborating evidence that Mr. Busfield engaged in inappropriate conduct or that he was ever alone with the twins on set. This creates a massive discrepancy between the findings of a corporate internal investigation and the charges now brought by the Albuquerque District Attorney. On one side, you have an independent investigator stating there were witnesses and no evidence of the director ever being alone with the children. On the other side, you have criminal charges alleging severe abuse. The defense is leaning heavily on this prior investigation to support their theory that the new criminal charges are a fabrication. The studio itself has maintained a standard protective stance. A representative for Warner Brothers Television previously stated that the safety of cast and crew, especially minors, is their top priority. They confirmed they have systems to investigate and take action. The fact that Busfield continued to work or that the investigation closed without finding fault is a key pillar of his defense strategy. But the legal battle is only one front of this war. There is also the court of public opinion. Timothy Busfield, knowing the damage such headlines can cause, took the unusual step of addressing the public directly before he even entered the detention center. In a move that bypasses traditional public relations strategies, Busfield appeared in a video obtained by TMZ, speaking directly to the camera. The video captures him reportedly after receiving the call from authorities but before his surrender. His demeanor wasn't one of silence, it was one of defiance. Busfield explained the logistics of his surrender, stating, "I got the call Friday night, I had to get a lawyer. Saturday I got in the car, drove 2,000 miles to Albuquerque." By highlighting the voluntary nature of his travel, driving across the country to turn himself in, he is attempting to demonstrate a lack of flight risk and a willingness to face the judicial process head-on. In the video, he categorically denied the charges using absolute language. "I did not do anything wrong," he declared. He went on to describe the allegations as horrible and lies. He specifically addressed the nature of the charges involving the children, stating, "I did not do anything to those little boys, and I'm going to fight it." This direct appeal to the public serves a strategic purpose. By stating, "I'm going to be exonerated, I know I am, because this is all so wrong," Busfield is trying to get ahead of the mugshot narrative. He's positioning himself not just as a defendant, but as a victim of false accusations. He concluded his message with a note of optimism regarding his career, saying, "Hang in there, and hopefully I'm out real soon and back to work." But Busfield isn't the only high-profile name attached to this story. He is married to actress Melissa Gilbert, known globally for her role in Little House on the Prairie and her former presidency of the Screen Actors Guild. Her reaction to these charges is critical, as spousal support, or the lack thereof, often shapes public perception in high-stakes legal battles. Gilbert has chosen to stand firm. While she declined to speak on camera, her representative, Amy Van Eyden, issued a clear statement regarding her position. The rep confirmed that while Gilbert would not be making public statements at this time, Melissa stands with and supports her husband and will address the public at an appropriate time. This united front suggests that the defense team and the family are operating under a single, cohesive strategy: total denial of the charges and a counter-narrative focused on the alleged revenge plot by the accuser's mother. So where does this leave the case? We have a direct conflict between the sworn observations of the Albuquerque Police Department and the findings of Warner Brothers' independent investigator. The prosecution will likely rely on the testimony of the minors and the evidence that led to the warrant. The defense, led by Stanton Stein, will lean on the revenge theory, the lack of corroborating evidence found during the studio's internal probe, and the claim that Busfield was never alone with the twins. The outcome of this case will likely hinge on whether the defense can prove their calculated effort theory in a court of law. Can they substantiate the claim that a mother's anger over a casting decision morphed into a criminal case? Or will the prosecution present evidence that overrides the studio's initial findings? Busfield has vowed to fight to the end until the truth prevails, and with a high-powered legal team and a specific narrative already in play, this is going to be a contentious legal battle. We will be tracking every motion and court date as this story develops. If you want to stay updated on how the legal process interprets these conflicting narratives, make sure you are subscribed. We will bring you the updates as the evidence is presented in court.